look at the Bible. Let's look in the book of Job. Turn to chapter 40. In verse 15 we're told of a mighty creature that Job must have known. In the jungle of the reeds and ferns, Behemoth made his home. Behemoth is a dinosaur is he. He eateth grass as an ox, his tail's like a cedar tree. His bones are strong as bars of iron, he's chief in the ways of God.
Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jen and this is Fundie Fridays. And on my channel, I talk about fundamentalism while I do my makeup. Just want to start off this video by saying hello and thank you to all my new subscribers. I really don't know how I'm going to live up to the masterpiece that was Jill Rodriguez Halloween special. It's been really amazing to read everybody's comments and I appreciate all the support. I have something really cool today. I have this SpongeBob palette, 100% not sponsored. I just really like SpongeBob. So that's going to be fun. Today I'm going to talk about Ken Ham. He is the founder and creator of Creation Museum and the Ark Encounter, both in Kentucky. These museums promote young earth creationism, which is the belief that Genesis is to be taken literally, and the earth is only 6,000 years old. If you were wondering what the actual age of the earth is, it is estimated to be about 4.5 billion years old. And interestingly enough, when I googled that, Ken Ham's website, Answers in Genesis, was the third hit, which if you didn't know already, you can actually pay money to have your website featured in the top Google search results. So, do what you want with that information. Ken Ham was born October 20th, 1951 in Queensland, Australia. He actually has a degree in applied science, so he's not completely making this shit up. Well, he is making this shit up, but he's attempting to do it with a scientific perspective. To be fair, not all Christians believe in creationism or that every Bible story should be taken as a literal fact. But Ken's mission is to convince people that the earth was created in 6 days and that man and dinosaurs coexisted. He insists that evolution is not real and not factual. Ham took a job teaching science in a public school, and he resigned in 1979 after, quote, being appalled by the fact that some of his students assumed their textbooks that taught evolutionary science successfully proved the Bible to be untrue. Here's how I personally imagine his classes went.
Dinner's ready. Where's Grandpa?
Oh! That's your grandpa?
Haven't you heard? Our ancestors are monkeys.
Oh no! He's eating the baby! Stop him, honey!
We can't. It's against the law to teach creationism.
With that idea in mind, Ken and his wife formed Creation Science Supplies and Creation Science Educational Media Services. This business provided creation materials to be distributed to Queensland public schools. A year later, Ham and his buddy, John McKay, also a young earth creationist, merged the businesses with Carl Weiland's Creation Science Association, and their new organization together would be called the Creation Science Foundation. In January of 1987, Ham moved his family to the United States to spread his message. He joined forces with the Institution for Creation Research and began giving lectures across America entitled Back to Genesis. In his lectures, he spoke about the true age of the earth as told by Genesis, that teaching evolution caused cultural decay, and how Christians should engage in a culture war against atheism and humanism. In the 1990s, Ham left his other foundations behind and formed his current organization, Answers in Genesis, which is listed as a nonprofit. And if you decide to work for this awful company, you must sign a statement of faith that you believe in young earth creationism, the Great Flood was a historic event, and that marriage should be between a man and a woman only. You know, standard paperwork that you have to sign at a new job. Now on to the real shit show, the Creation Museum. It is located in Petersburg, Kentucky, cost $27 million to make, and spans over 75,000 square feet. The location of the museum was chosen because it is near 69% of America's population. Pun not intended. The Creation Museum has drawn lots of attention, and even atheists like Bill Maher have attended. And of course, America's favorite quiver, the Duggars, stopped by for a visit.
High school teacher in science, I saw that the teaching of evolution millions of years was a real stumbling block to people even listening to the message of the Bible, and just had a real burden to build a creation museum to at least challenge people with another point of view concerning origin. And because evolution is taught as fact in the public school system, and students in America aren't even allowed to hear about creation, we want to make sure we had a place where people could have the freedom to bring their kids and hear information that I think is being censored from the community.
We're here to teach our children about creation and to show them all of these great exhibits of how the world was created, and also to reinforce to them that the fallacies of evolution and how it was impossible for this world just to all happen by chance.
I think the world is definitely, as the Bible says, 6,000 years old.
It's pretty obvious once you start looking into it. What's really would be more, factual.
It's actually more scientifically proven than billions of years old. God had everything planned whenever He created the world in 6 days. The Bible clearly displays all that. Some things that they say in evolution make sense, but then if you read in the Bible, it lines up to where it's not, it's not correct. It's totally different.
The Creation Museum has a zoo, a zip line, planetarium where you can get answers to life's greatest questions, such as, does life exist on other planets? Did your neighbor really see a UFO? Are there answers in the Bible? The Creation Museum's most famous exhibit, of course, is the Garden of Eden, where you can see creepy wax figures of humans frolicking with dinosaurs. Dinosaurs and humans? I don't know. That's pretty scary. Good thing the Creation Museum employs armed guards and drug dogs.
And on the third day, God created the Remington bolt-action rifle so that man could fight the dinosaurs and the homosexuals. Amen.
In 2016, Ken opened the Ark Encounter, which is 45 miles away from the Creation Museum. And that's just shitty planning. If you want to see both attractions in one day, you're going to spend a lot of time traveling. The Ark is 510 feet long and 51 feet high. It is supposed to be a perfect scale replica of Noah's Ark in the Bible. I hate to break it to you, Ken, but that's already been done, and more successfully, with blockbuster hit Evan Almighty starring Steve Carell, including yet another inhumane petting zoo and a walk-through graphic novel that covers key events of the Bible. The Ark Encounter makes the most sense of any of the museums that Ken has created. Noah's Ark is a well-known Bible story, and even secular people know about it. And who doesn't love a good tourist trap? I know I do. In December of 2016, the Ark was lit up rainbow colors because Answers in Genesis wanted to take the rainbow back from gay people, so out of protest, I guess, the display is still going on. I don't know, Ken. That seems pretty gay to me. And in the most brilliant stroke of irony, the Ark Encounter and the land it was built on suffered damage from heavy rain in 2017 and 2018. The rain caused a landslide on the Ark's access road, and none of the Ark's 5 insurance companies agreed to pay for the damage, which totaled over $1 million. So AIG did what any good Christian business would do and sued them. And I think it's safe to say that the insurance companies won't pay for the damage. After all, that much rain just has to be an act of God. In 2014, Ken hosted a debate with Bill Nye the Science Guy, and of course Bill Nye isn't a kids show host anymore. His main goal is to educate people about man-made climate change in hopes that we can reverse it or lessen the impact. The two debated, and I really mean Bill debated, Ken sucked, for over 3 hours. Here are some highlights.
We're talking about the past when we weren't there. We didn't see those tree rings actually forming. We didn't see those layers being laid down. It's like the dating methods. You're assuming things in regard to the past that aren't necessarily true.
The fundamental thing we disagree on, Mr. Ham, is this nature of what you can prove to yourself. When people make assumptions, they're making assumptions based on previous experience. They're not coming out of whole cloth. I encourage you to explain to us why we should accept your word for it, that natural law changed just 4,000 years ago, completely, and there's no record of it.
Natural law hasn't changed. As I talked about, I said we have the laws of logic, the uniformity of nature, and that only makes sense within a biblical worldview anyway, of a creator God who set up those laws, and that's why we can do good experimental science, because we assume those laws are true, and they'll be true tomorrow. We build models based upon the Bible, and those models are always subject to change. The fact of Noah's flood is not subject to change. The model of how the flood occurred is subject to change, because we observe in the current world, and we're able to come up with maybe different ways this could have happened or that could have happened, and that's part of that scientific discovery. You cannot ever prove using the scientific method in the present. You can't prove the age of the Earth, so you can never prove it's old. So there is no hypothetical.
The general consensus is that Bill won the debate. However, the publicity from the event actually helped the Ark encounter raise money for more projects to add to the museum. In 2017, Ken invited Bill to tour the Ark. Bill pointed out scientific inaccuracies, and Ken nitpicked everything he had to say and tried to catch him in a technicality. When Bill said something was scientifically inaccurate, Ken would say, well, that's your assumption. Well, actually, Ken's claims are assumptions, but Bill's have been proven through the scientific method and are backed up by more than just the Bible. The video of the whole tour is over 2 hours, but I picked an especially infuriating clip for you.
Those who believe in evolution actually believe
I'm
in
sorry,
ice
so
ages.
your claim is that there was an ice age 4,000 years ago?
The ice age was back towards the flood.
What do you base that on?
What do we base that on? Well, as you know...
Here we have evidence for this.
Yeah.
What's the evidence for this?
No, we don't have evidence for that. That's an interpretation. You can't find ice that has labels on it.
Yes, you can.
Labels?
Absolutely.
That say, I'm 300,000 years old? Oh, wait.
Yes, sir, you're a science educator.
I've never seen one of those. Where do you see one of those?
You count neutrons and oxygen atoms. That's how it's done.
Yeah, but
it's as though it has a label on it.
But it doesn't say I'm 300,000 years old.
Not in English, no.
No, you have to interpret it on the basis of certain assumptions, right? You have assumptions.
Certain discoveries.
No, assumptions. I mean...
Let's go with discoveries.
No,
in time.
You can't go back in time. We live in the present.
In your worldview, as soon as you produce a miracle, then you're not doing science.
Well, I'm not producing a miracle.
There's no such thing.
What do you mean by science?
So this is the most troubling thing you do, Mr. Ham. Climate change is the most serious problem facing humankind. And so by trying to convince young people that climate change is not real is very serious, because they're going to have to grow up and deal with it.
Actually, we're saying climate change is real.
The Little Ice Age was a local phenomenon.
Bill, we're saying climate change is real.
So is it serious?
Climate change? What you have to do then is say, why have they changed?
And keep in mind, the video that I pulled this clip from has comments disabled. So otherwise, we would get great one-liners like this. In 2015, an ex-employee of the Creation Museum came forward alleging that employees at the museum were overworked, underpaid, treated like crap, faced sexist microaggressions, and were forced to work holidays and weekends. Come on, Ken, even Chick-fil-A is closed on Sundays. Nothing came of this statement except for giving us another reason to hate this douchebag. In my humble opinion, there's nothing wrong in believing in creation. Every culture and religion has an origin story. You can believe in God and evolution at the same time. In fact, Charles Darwin said, evolution is a chief argument for the existence of God. And Carl Sagan said, science is not only compatible with spirituality, it is a profound source of spirituality. And while I personally don't believe in God, that shouldn't discourage other people from doing what gives them hope and makes them happy. The Bible was written by human beings. They just didn't have the scientific accuracy that we have today. That doesn't mean that they were stupid or lying to people. It's just something you have to consider when you're dealing with a book that is over 3,000 years old and has been translated into over 600 languages. What I don't like, however, is people like Ken Ham speaking on behalf of an entire religious community and claiming what he's speaking about are facts, because they're not. They're religious teachings. And if I was a believer, I would think that he would be an embarrassment to the Christian community, making them seem ignorant. And there's also the secondary problem of the Creation Museum and the Ark Encounter giving free tickets for school trips. Both attractions receive tax breaks from the state of Kentucky to draw tourism, which is a huge violation of church and state, but we'll save that soapbox for another episode. If this video is something that interests you, I have some more resources in the info box below. Remember to consensually smash that like and subscribe button, follow me on Tumblr and Instagram, and have a nice day.
That is insanely big.
Very well. Oh, it stinks of
Here, let's take a picture.
The power of Christ compels.
Watch it. You gotta play it cool here, though.
You got it in one. What the are these? Sloth kind. He didn't have a aeroplane to fly around the world. Where did he get them from? What the are these?